තං ඒකං සමයං භගවා සාවන්තියං විහෙරති ජේතවනේ අනාථපිණ්ඩිකංස ආරාමේ අතකෝ අඤ්ඤතරා දේවතා අබින්කන්තාය රන්තියා අබින්කන්ත වන්නා කේවල කම්පං ජේතවනං ඕවාසෙන්වා යේන භගවාතේනුපසංකමී උපසංකමින්වා භගවන්තං අභිවාදෙන්වා ඒකමන්තං අන්තාසී ඒකමන්තං පිතාකෝසා දේවතා භගවන්තං ගාතාය අංජබාසී බහුදේවා මනුන්සාච මංගලානි අචින්තයොං ආකංකමානා සොන්තානං බ්‍රෝහි මංගලමුන්තමං අසේවනාච බාලානං පණ්ඩිතානංච සේවනා පූජාච පූජනීයානං ඒතං මංගලමුන්තමං පතිරූපදේශවාසෝච පුම්බීජ කත පුඤ්ඤතා අන්ත සම්මා පනිදිච ඒතං මංගලමුන්තමං බාහු සංචංච සිම්පංච විනයෝච සුසිංකිතෝ සුභාසිතාච යාවාචා ඒතං මංගලමුන්තමං මාතා පිතු උපට්ඨානං පුන්තදාරංස සංඝෝ අනාකුලාච කම්මන්තා ඒතං මංගලමුන්තමං දානංච ධම්මචරියාච ඥාතකානංච සංඝෝ අනවංජානි කම්මානි ඒතං මංගලමුන්තමං ආරති විරති පාපා මංජපානාච සංයමෝ අප්පමාදෝච ධම්මේසු ඒතං මංගලමුන්තමං ගාරවෝච නිවාතෝච සන්තුන්තිච කතං යුතා කාලේන ධම්ම සවනං ඒතං මංගලමුන්තමං කන්තිච සෝව චන්සතා සමනානංච දන්සනං කාලේන ධම්ම සාකච්ඡා ඒතං මංගලමුන්තමං තපෝච බ්‍රහ්මචරියංච අරිය සංචාන දන්සනං නිබ්බාන සංචිකිරියාච ඒතං මංගලමුන්තමං පුන්තංස ලෝක ධම්මී චින්තං යන්සන කම්පති අසෝකං විරජං කේමං ඒතං මංගලමුන්තමං ඒතාදිසානි කන්වාන සම්බන්තමපරාජිතා සම්බන්ත සොන්තිං ගච්ඡන්තිතං තේසං මංගල මුන්තමන්ති ඒතේන සංච වංජේන හෝතු තේ ජය මංගලං ඒතේන සංච වංජේන හෝතු තේ ජය මංගලං ඒතේන සංච වංජේන හෝතු තේ ජය මංගලං කරණීය මන්ත කුසලේන යන්තං සන්තං පදං අභිසමිච්ඡ සක්ඛෝජෝච සෝජෝච සුවචෝචං සමුදෝ අනතිමානි සන්තුන්සකෝච සුභරෝච අම්පකින්චෝච සල්ලහුකවුන්ති සන්තින්ද්‍රියෝච නිපකෝච අම්පගම්බෝ කුලේසු අනුනුගින්දෝ නචකුන්දං සමාචරේ කිංචි යේන විඤ්ඤූ පරේ උපවදෙය්‍යං සුඛිනෝ වාකේමිනෝ හන්තු සම්බේ සන්තා භවන්තු සුඛිතන්තා ඒකේචිපාන භූතන්ති තසවාතාවරාවා අනවසේසා දීඝාවායේ මහන්තාවා මංජිමාරංසකානුකතුලා දිත්ථාවායේව අන්දින්තා යේච දුරේ වසන්ති අවිදුරේ භූතාවා සම්භවේසීවා සම්බේ සන්තා භවන්තු සුඛිතන්තා නපරෝ පරං නිකුම්බේත ඥාති මඤ්ඤේත කන්ත චිනං කංචි ව්‍යාරෝසනා පටික සංඥා ඥාඤ්ඤ මඤ්ඤංස දුක්ඛ මිච්ඡේය මාතා යතානියං පුන්තං ආයුසා ඒක පුන්ත මනුරංකේ ඒවම්පි සම්බභූතේසු මාන සංභාවයේ අපරිමාණ මෙත්තංච සම්බලෝකස්මින් මාන සංභාවයේ අපරිමාණ උන්දං අදෝච තිරියංච අසංභාදං අවේරං අසපත්තං තින්ඨං චරං නිසින්නෝවා සයානෝවා යාවතංස විගතමින්දෝ ඊතං සතින් අදින්ඨේය බ්‍රහ්මමේතං විහාරං ඉදමාහෝ දින්ඨින්ච අනුපගම්ම සීලවා දන්සනේන සම්පන්නෝ කාමේසු විනය්‍යගේදං නහි ජාතු ගම්බසේයං පුනරේති. එවං මේ සුතං ඒකං සමයං භගවා සාවන්තියං විහරති ජේතවනේ අනාථපිණ්ඩිකංස ආරාමේ අතකෝ අඤ්ඤතරා දේවතා අබින්කන්තාය රන්තියා අබින්කන්තවන්නා කේවල කම්පං ජේතවනං ඕබාසෙන්වා යේන භගවාතේනුපසංකමී උපසංකමින්වා භගවන්තං අභිවාදෙන්වා ඒකමන්තං අන්තාසී ඒකමන්තං පිතාකෝසා දේවතා භගවන්තං ගාතාය අංජබාසී බහුදේවා මනුන්සාච මංගලානි අචින්තයොං ආකංකමානා සොන්තානං බ්‍රෝහි මංගලමුන්තමං අසේවනාච බාලානං පණ්ඩිතානංච සේවනා පූජාච පූජනීයානං ඒතං මංගලමුන්තමං පතිරූපදේශවාසෝච පුම්බේච කත පුඤ්ඤතා අන්ත සම්මා පනිදිච ඒතං මංගලමුන්තමං බාහු සංචංච සිම්පංච විනයෝච සුසිංකිතෝ සුභාසිතාච යාවාචා ඒතං මංගලමුන්තමං මාතා පිතු උපට්ඨානං පුන්තදාරංස සංඝෝ අනාකුලාච කම්මන්තා ඒතං මංගලමුන්තමං
Namo Buddhaya, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. A very good morning to all of you. I notice many of you have already logged in to another Sunday Buddha Puja service. Welcome, welcome. Well, it is early and we are all together for this wonderful Buddha Puja service. You may consider to watch this program in your living room and to have clarity of audio and visual. Please check your Wi-Fi reception. Thank you for all the positive, kind words to us. Nama Buddhaya, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Welcome to SJBA 67 online Sunday Buddha Puja service. Sadhu to all those of you who have been following this weekly online puja service since the beginning. And I hope many of you will stay on until the sharing of merits. It has been giving the opportunity to Buddhist devotees near and far, whether it's locally or from overseas, to continue with our Buddhist faith and practices, listening to the chanting, the Dharma. Welcome, our Dharma friends who are watching our Subanjaya. Let us prepare ourselves by sitting comfortably, relax our bodies, and compose our minds. Let go of thinking about the past and future. Be in the present moment. And with that, I shall hand over to our puja leader, Sister Anne Sim.
Thank you, Brachan. Good morning, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Namo Buddhaya. Let us begin with our Sunday Buddha Puja by making offerings to the Buddha. May we invite Brother Jim to make the offerings to the Buddha. If you have prepared the offerings at home, you may also light your candles or oil lamps and make the offerings to the Buddha. Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, let us place our palms together in Anjali position and contemplate mindfully. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. 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 Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, let us pay homage to the Triple Gem. Buddhang pujemi, Dhammang pujemi, Sanghang pujemi. Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, let us together take refuge in the Triple Gem and observe the 5 precepts. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Adinadana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Kamisu miccācara veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Musavada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Suramiraya majjapamajattana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Imani panca sikkhapadani samadhiyami. Imani panca sikkhapadani samadhiyami. Imani panca sikkhapadani samadhiyami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Itipiso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho. Vichacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu. Anuttaro purisa dhamma sarati sattha deva manusana buddho bhagavati. Swakato bhagavata dhammo sandittiko akaliko ehi passiko oppanayiko paccattam veditabbu vinyuhiti. Supatipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho. Ujupatipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho. Nyayapatipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho. Samicipatipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho. Yatidang chattari purisa yugani atta purisa pukkala. Esa bhagavato sāvaka sangho. Ahuneyo pahuneyo dakhineyo anjali karaniyo anuttarang punyaketang lokasati. Vandami cetiyang sabbang sabbatane supatititang saririka dhatu mahabodhi buddha rupang sakalang sada. Yasamule nisinova sabbari vijayang aka pato sabbanyutang satta vande tang bodhipadapang. Ime ete mahabodhi lokanatena pujita aham pite namasami bodhi raja namatute. Ganasarapadittena dipena tamadansina tilokadipang sambuddhang pujayami tamonudang. Ganda sambara yuttena dupena hang sugandina pujaye pujaniyang tang puja bhajana muttamang. Vannaganda gunopetang etang kusuma santating pujayami munindas siripada sararuhe. Pujemi buddhang kusumena nena punyena mettena cha hotu mokkang puppang milayati yata idang me kayo tatayati vinassa bhavang. Adivasettu no bante paniyang parikapitang anukampang upadaya patiganhatu muttamang. Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katang Acchayang kamame bante puripanya tathagata. Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katang Acchayang kamame dhamma santittika akalika. Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katang Acchayang kamame sangha supatipanna anuttara. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Namo Buddhaya, brothers and sisters in the Dharma. So good to have all of you partaking in our Sunday Puja again this morning. This morning, we are also very pleased to have Brother Tan Sang Chai once again to be with us in our Sunday Buddha Puja. Brother Sang Chai will be giving a Dharma talk this morning with the title True Calm and Contentment, which is based on the 4 Brahma Vihara, focusing on the sympathetic joy and equanimity today. I'm sure most of you already know Brother Sang Chai very well, but for the information of those who may be new to him, please allow me to introduce Brother Tan Sang Chai. Brother Tan Sang Chai is the lay Dharma advisor of Subang Jaya Buddhist Association. He began his formal Buddhist education in the Buddhist Institute Sunday Dharma School Brickfields. Among his early teachers were the late K. Sri Dhammananda and the Venerable H. Gunaratana. He joined the Buddhist Missionary Society Youth Section at the PMV after completing his tertiary studies and served as the vice chairman and then the chairman. He also served as in the ESCO of the parent body PMSM. Brother Sang Chai was the Dharma Committee chairman while serving in the Executive Committee of Subang Jaya Buddhist Association. and was later appointed as his lay advisor. Currently, he is the director of Nalanda Institute, the education arm of Nalanda Buddhist Society. Brother Sangchai is a striving meditator and is active in sharing Dharma at various Buddhist centers in Malaysia and Singapore. His talks center around daily practice of the Dharma and how it transforms one's life. He feels it is important to understand the essential teachings of the Buddha, as it gives the Buddhists a strong foundation of knowledge which prevents them from wrong interpretation and practice of the Dharma. Brothers and sisters, if you have any questions pertaining to this talk, you may type your questions in the comment section, which will then invite Brother Sangchai to answer your question of the talk. However, due to time constraint, we may not be able to answer all questions, in which case we ask for your understanding and forgiveness. Brothers and sisters, we are now pleased to invite Brother Sangchai to deliver the talk on true calm and contentment. Over to you, Brother Sangchai. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Good morning, dear Dhamma brothers and sisters. It's very good to be with you again on such a wonderful Sunday morning in order to share some Dhamma of what I have learned with you. It's always very joyous, very happy to be able to connect with all our good Dhamma friends out there. And today, as mentioned by Brother Jim, I am continuing this series of talks on the Brahma Vihara. As mentioned, the Brahma Vihara are states of mind which are recommended for us. I mentioned during the last talk, there are many states of mind, which mean our minds can go to the cupboard and open the cupboard and then pull out certain states for our minds to embrace, for our minds to take hold of. So if we are not careful, if we are not wise, and we don't know what is happening to us, we will take the wrong mental state and put the mind to connect with it. And in that case, we will then have a very difficult and a very disharmonious life. That means our life will not be in harmony. But if we choose the right mental state, the right beautiful mind to be here with us, then we will enjoy our life. We will have a really nice, joyous, harmonious. We can get along with everybody, and everybody can get along with us, and we will see the world in a very positive way. So, brother, can you start the slideshow? Yes. Can you make it slightly bigger? Yes, thanks. I don't have to be so big, but the slides I have prepared are carrying the visual message, and is very important. So we are looking at today calm and contentment. What can we do? How do we understand? What is the mental development, the mental culture, in order to get more calm and contentment in our lives, actually into our mind. And then our mind controls what we do in our lives. So it is important. The last talk, I discussed metta and karuna. Metta means loving kindness, and karuna means compassion. So taking on from metta and karuna are these other two mental states, which are called mudita, sympathetic joy, and upekkha, in English, equanimity. And so when we have these two mental states also with us, not just two, but the whole of the four with us, then as I mentioned, we can see life in a much more positive way rather than the way we are used to, rather than the way which our circle of friends and family, in a way have taught us to actually see life like that. But do we actually want that? So we have to ask ourselves the question, can we improve the state of our mind? So next, please. So I start off with this Zen saying. It is from the Zen school of Buddhism. And it is very significant. It hits right to the heart of what we are trying to develop. It says, it never occurs to the ordinary person to control his or her own mind. Now, is that true or not, dear Dhamma brothers and sisters? Does it ever occur to anyone who has not heard the Buddha's teachings to think, I must adjust my mind, I must train my mind, I must bring my mind to good places so that my mind does not stay in those dark and unwholesome places? Do you think it can take place? It is very difficult, very, very rare indeed. I don't mean there are none, but it's very rare indeed that a person who does not study and practice the Dhamma, or even sit under the Zen school, that a person will think out of the blue, normally just start thinking, I better control my mind. So it is usually when they come into contact with some system of mental training, the training of the mind, the training of the ability to see the nature of life in a more wholesome way, then only we will realize, I better do something about my mind. So it's the same with me. Even when I was taken to the Sunday Dhamma school at a very young age, it never occurred to me to control my mind or change my mind. I just did whatever whatever I like to do. And if people told me certain things that I didn't like, then I just wouldn't do it. And if they kept on telling me and I did not want to follow, then there will be some trouble. There will be some bad feelings happening. But I was very, very stubborn. It was not easy to make me change. When I was young. So it does not occur. I think you will agree with me. If you think of your past, it is not easy. Or has it ever occurred to you somehow, even when you have started to learn the teachings of the Buddha, did it ever occur to you that you have to control your own mind? Next, please. So here the Buddha is always telling us to do something about our minds. How important it is. Of course, he gives us the precepts. He also tells us about moral behavior, how to behave with all the people around us. He tells us that. But then again, he will also say, you have to look after your mind. That is the essence of the Buddha's teaching. He said, if you really want to follow my teachings, you need to do these three things. So the Buddha said, first of all, avoid evil. Then, or unwholesome things, unwholesome actions, unwholesome thoughts. Avoid evil. Then do good. when you come across things that you can do that are good and wholesome and leads to happiness, do it. But he also said there's a third principle, and that is cultivate, purify your mind. So all Buddhists who take seriously the teachings of the Buddha, and this is what I mean, many Buddhists don't take the teachings of the Buddha seriously. But if there comes a time we decide that we take the teachings of the Buddha seriously, then we have to do these three things: avoid evil or unwholesomeness, do that which is wholesome and leads to happiness, and purify, train the mind. So in this Dhammapada verse, the first of the Dhammapada verse, the Buddha said this: all that we are is the result of what we have thought. It is founded on our thoughts. It is made up of our thoughts. Everything that we do, who we are now. If one speaks or acts with an evil thought, pain follows one. This is what the Buddha has seen. As the wheel follows the foot of the ox that draws the wagon. So the ox is drawing this cart or the wagon. So the evil will follow this ox. But the Buddha also said in verse number 2, all that we are is the result of what we have thought. It is founded on our thoughts. It is made up of our thoughts. And then if one speaks or acts with a pure thought, happiness follows one, like a shadow that never leaves us. So you can see, right at the beginning of the Dhammapada, there is this emphasis on thinking, having the right mental state, having the urge, having the importance on thinking the right thought. And so thinking the right thought means there must be some kind of training. We must train ourselves because, as I've said right at the beginning, it never occurs. We never naturally think, I must change my way of thinking. So we look at the world today, look at the people around us, and we can see that almost everyone, it is very rare, very, very rare. It is like finding a diamond in the drain. It's very rare to find a person who naturally thinks, even when they are young, who naturally thinks, I must learn to train my mind. So here the Buddha establishes, he says very clearly, if you think good, you will get good. Because our actions are from our thoughts. If you think bad things, bad thoughts, you will get bad. You will get more suffering. You won't get happiness. So this is right, clearly established by the Buddha. Next, please. So we look at suffering and happiness. Everybody in the world wants to avoid suffering, but everybody in the world wants to experience more and more happiness. But do they know the right way? Do they know the method? Do they know how to train themselves in order to get happiness? So we take a look at the world, and the people that are controlling the world, the leaders of the world, if they do not have an idea about good thoughts, if they don't know what comes out of pure thoughts and just let their mind control them, you can see there is so much suffering in this world, in that country, led by this leader. But if there is an understanding of good behavior, if there is an understanding of right thought, if there's an understanding of how do we think properly in order to behave for everyone in this world, we will have a more peaceful, a more happy world. So we are always looking for happiness. And these 4 Brahma Vihara that I have been talking about, if we bring them into our hearts, if we share them with our fellow human beings, we will have more happiness, and less suffering in this world. Yeah, this is predicted by the Buddha. Next, please. So, the first of the defilements, of the unwholesome thoughts, we are going to look at is a group. And of course, you know that if we take a look at the unwholesome, it must be followed by the wholesome, the really good qualities. So we take a look at ill will. And ill will is something which we experience that makes us, first of all, uncomfortable. It is not a comfortable when we have ill will. Actually, nobody enjoys being hateful towards others. They might do it. Yeah, they might have hate, they might have anger, they might have all kinds of resentment towards others, but they know that deep down inside, they are burning. Their hearts are on fire. It is not something enjoyable, but because they don't know how to train their minds, they don't know how to change the nature of their thoughts, they will be trapped in this cage of ill will, envy, and jealousy. So because of that, the Buddha explains, fill our minds with the 4 Brahma Vihara so that there is no space. We are always protected from that which is unwholesome, from hatred, from cruelty, and now from ill will, envy, and jealousy. So these are the states of mind, mudita, sympathetic joy, will oppose, will counter it, will reverse it, will bring about the wholesome opposite states of mind that are controlled by ill will, envy, and jealousy. Next, please. So I went and found some interesting quotations on envy and jealousy on the internet. And these are by Western writers and Western thinkers. And it says here, the first one, envy is quite good. The English expression is quite interesting. It says, envy is the art of counting the other fellow's blessings instead of our own. So this is what envy is all about. We take a look at our neighbor, we take a look at our friend, we take a look at our colleagues, we take a look at people that are within our circle of existence, and then we say, why is he having such a good time? Why is he enjoying life? He's blessed. He's got so many ways of having a good time, of enjoying his life. Whereas I don't think I have those kind of blessings. So he spends his life, or she spends her life counting the other person's blessing. First got this, then got that, then got the whatever. And sometimes we do this to our children also. When you start comparing children, you will tell your kid, oh, the other, that the other family, the children are so good, and this and that and that and that, and that is one way, of making your son or your daughter really jealous and uncomfortable. So we have to be very careful. If we have these states of mind, that is envy and jealousy, it's very easy for us to look at what other people have and not look at what we have. We are also blessed. If you really count the good things in your life, we are really blessed. I have traveled a lot in this world, and I've been to countries where suffering is very great, such as India, such as Africa. And I've seen that the quality of the life is not like what we have here. And so we must count our lucky stars, that we don't go into an environment that is dangerous for us. We don't go into an environment where, the people around us want to hurt us. We can walk about. Yeah, I know that there are dangerous people in our society who want to steal, who want to, take our things. Yes, but by and large, the law, the system of justice here in this country protects us from them. So they are very afraid, that to do any bad thing. But we, as I said, in other countries, it's very easy to see the suffering. Yeah, to see that there are so many people, who are suffering more than those who don't suffer. And this is not the case here in Malaysia. So we count our blessings. The other one is the jealous are troublesome to others. Yeah, the jealous people, they are troublesome to others, but they are torment to themselves. Which means to say, although they make life difficult for others, they make it more troublesome. Yeah, they make it more torturous for themselves, because their minds is always going to a very bad place. Yeah, their minds are not contented. Their minds is only looking at what other people are doing, what other people are having, what other people are enjoying. And so the jealousy, becomes stronger and stronger. And jealousy is always accompanied by ill will. Yeah, it is not a good state of mind. You are hateful. You are angry. You are not happy that other people are happy. So that is jealousy. And therefore, the more we have this, the more we are going to suffer. Yeah, and this is a statement Penn, who was one of the great American leaders, and I believe he founded the state of Pennsylvania. So this is what other people say. Yeah, I'm just picking it up. Yeah, in order to share. Yeah, with dear Dhamma brothers and sisters here. Yeah, to tell you, there are people who can recognize this, and they know the state of mind, envy, jealousy, ill will. Yeah, really are not good, and it disturbs us. Yeah, physically, it also has a bad effect on our body. Yeah, on our physical self. And I'll talk more about that later. Next, please. So we take a look at now. Now we take a look at what the Buddha taught us. What is the right state of mind to have? And I'm sure you have it. You understand it. So what we need to do now is to spread it out, to tell more and more people about it. Which is why it is good to talk about meditation. Yeah, it's good to talk about morals and precepts. It's a very, very strong base for the human being to have. Yeah, to have morals, to have precepts. But other than that, because the human being lives with other human beings, he or she must understand the importance of the four Brahma Vihara. Because if we want to live harmoniously, if we want to live in a very, very comfortable state with other human beings, these four Brahma Viharas are unbeatable. The Buddha said they are the most wonderful states. If you see that there is disagreement, not just disagreement, there is argument, there is disharmony, there is fighting, in a particular family or an organization, you can be sure these four are missing. If they are there, they are very weak. They allow the unwholesome thoughts or the unwholesome states of mind to squash them down. If they are there, if it is in the person's mind. So what we must do is we must encourage its development and its growth. So this is why I am spending time to explain it, so that we can see the importance of it. in our social interactions, and develop more and more of it, so that wherever we are, whichever group of people we are with, either family or friends or society or the community, to make that group of people more harmonious rather than disharmonious, rather than fight each other, disagreement, cannot see eye to eye. So these four are wonderful because I have found it out myself. There was a time when I was very, 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 shall I say, very neutral. Yeah, and I thought practicing vipassana is the most beneficial, and it's good. I mean, practicing vipassana will take us out of our suffering, but we can be also very cool and not able to connect. So when I started practicing metta and karuna more and more, and occasionally mudita and upekkha, but upekkha is slightly more unique. So we'll talk a bit. We will look at that a little bit later. Yeah. So when I started to practice more metta and karuna, I found that my way of looking at other people also changed. Yeah, the nature of my heart when I encounter situations also have changed. Yeah, I'm no longer critical. I mean, I do know what is wrong, but I don't criticize it out to the other person. Neither do I criticize, keep on criticizing it in my own mind. Because you can also keep on criticizing in your own mind. But with these states of metta, karuna, mudita, and upekkha, we tend to lessen the criticism and the angry thoughts. And in our own mind also, we are more restful, we are more relaxed, we are more positive, towards the world. So I can say, as a personal experience, I do highly recommend it. Yeah, but we must find the time to develop it to a high level, so that it will change the way we look at life. It changes the way we live our life, as well. So here I try to explain it in a very easy to understand way. Sympathetic joy, this mudita, is the pleasure, the happiness that comes from delighting in other people's well-being, other people's good fortune, or other people's virtues as well. It is not that they suddenly have a lot of money, they suddenly have good position, but also in the other person's virtues. We look at other people. He is so polite. Yeah, he is so full of metta. He is so patient. Then we can be happy as well that people in our family, people in our circle of of acquaintance are so virtuous. Yeah, and then we can show to them as well that we are happy, with their virtue, as well as all the other worldly success. Very often we mask our true feelings when we hear about our friend's success. Oh, he's got a promotion. Oh, he bought a new car. Then we just say, oh, that's very good. Yeah, then we also think, how come it doesn't happen to me? So there's a little bit of a gap, in that way of thinking. So there is the element of jealousy and resentment, which if we don't know how to control it, can get stronger and stronger. But if we practice mudita, which is pure joy, and it is not polluted, it is not made dirty by self-interest. So self-interest is what spoils the party. Yeah, it's what spoils the environment. We may think it is hard to develop, but actually we are experiencing it in our lives. Mudita, it's there, but we don't recognize it because we never talk about it. So now, dear brothers and sisters, we talk about it. So when are the good times we have, mudita. If you have ever taught your child, if you ever taught a friend, let's say, to ride a bicycle, this person cannot ride a bicycle, your son or your daughter cannot ride a bicycle, then suddenly one day it clicks in their mind how to ride a bicycle, and you are with them, pushing them, encouraging them. The minute they can pedal the bicycle on their own, that feeling of joy is called mudita. So my dear friends, you have mudita. If you can see somebody doing something well, there is mudita. When you celebrate your parents' birthday, or wedding anniversary, when you celebrate your friend's birthday, and you see them blow the candle year after year, you get mudita. So it is there. It is not that we don't have it, and we do bring it out. But after coming out, boom, it goes back into the cupboard. So now what I'm trying to say is, don't let it hide in the cupboard. Bring it out more and more, so that we are happy here, we are happy there, we are happy everywhere. Because we can see the causes to be happy with mudita in very, not just in the small, very intimate, very personal kind of things. So there is this psychologist who said we must reframe, we must relook, we must re-establish the way we look outside at people. So she says, instead of focusing on our lack of success, let us see our friend's achievement as inspirational. My friend can do it. It's wonderful that he has done it. It was a struggle for him to do it. So let me inspire myself. I can do it too. I want to be like my friend, so that he can be happy for me. Now I'm happy for him. I inspire myself, and after a while, he or she, when I have achieved it, will also be happy for me. And this leads us to improving ourselves. So we can develop mudita through systematic meditation as well. And we will take a look at that. We notice that more we practice, this Brahma Vihara becomes natural. If something, even if let's say, your dog learns how to go and catch the ball, you also are happy. That is mudita. Next, please. Let me introduce you to a very interesting African concept. It's called Ubuntu. It means I am because we are. It's a very interesting concept. There was once an anthropologist. He went to study the African people. And then he asked the children of that village whether they wanted to play a game. And they said, yes, let's play this game. And so he lined them up. And then there was a tree a few meters away. And then he put the fruits, a basket of fruits. And he said, the one who races the fastest, gets to this basket of fruits, will enjoy the basket of fruits. And then he said, are you ready? Get set and go. And to his surprise, they didn't race. They lined up in a row and they walked together towards that basket of fruits. And this Western anthropologist was very surprised. He said, why didn't you run? Why didn't you race? And they said, how if I race, only one can get it, and the rest will not get it. So let us walk together, as a group, as one line. We walk together towards this basket of fruits. When we get there, all of us will share it. So this concept means I am because we are. It means that the collective, this group, is more important than the individual. Because in certain communities, if they don't cooperate, they cannot survive because they are wild animals, etc., etc. But even then, it encourages the spirit of togetherness. Let us achieve together. Let us enjoy together. Let us not, just one person take everything and don't leave any good things for the rest of the village or of the group. So this is a wonderful story, a wonderful teaching and practice, Ubuntu. Okay, next, please. So the great Western teacher, Venerable Jnana Ponika, who has passed away many years now, he said, and I took quite a lot of material from Venerable's book. He said, the more sublime and noble the joy of others is, the more justified will be our sympathetic joy. A cause for our joy with others is their noble life as well, securing them happiness here in lives and in the hereafter. A still nobler cause for our joy with others is their faith in the Dhamma, their understanding of the Dhamma, their following of the Dhamma. Let us give them the help of Dhamma, and let us strive to become more and more able ourselves to render the help. Sympathetic joy that is strength and gives strength, this is the highest joy. And so I must give credit to my SJBA team, who every Sunday gets together to share the Dhamma. And when we've shared the Dhamma, there is joy in us. We have this mudita. So we hope that you can come and join our mudita party, after every talk. We sometimes check with each other, how did it go, how was the technical aspects, and we are driven by this mudita, to share with as many people as possible this wonderful Dhamma. So this is what Venerable says, share the Dhamma and then see that these people become more and more secure in their lives. They are able to withstand all kinds of hardship and challenges. And this is what the Dhamma is all about. So we take it upon ourselves. We don't get paid. We don't get any rewards for this except the happiness of hearts, which is called mudita, as we do this kind of work for the Buddhist community. Next, please. So now let us look at equanimity, which has its base in wisdom. And next slide, please. And equanimity is not easy to develop because we tend to be caught up or swayed by the state of our mind and our heart. If our heart is happy, we try to catch hold of it. If we get success, we want that experience, that feeling to stay with us as long as possible. And when that feeling goes off, we become sad. We become a little bit unhappy. So there is the grasping. And when we see people suffer, we also become very, very sad. And when we see that people happy, they are successful, we don't feel happy for them also, unless we have developed this mudita in our hearts. Upekkha means that we are in a very significant way. We are letting go the up and the downs of everyday life. But it doesn't mean we let go and don't care. We then, with one hand, we let go. With the other hand, we are now holding on to the handrail. To the, when we get on the LRT, there is this thing for us to hang on to so that we don't fall and, swayed by the train. We let go that which is up and down, ever changing, and we catch hold of this handrail called upeka. Upeka is a balance of the mind. So here, I would like to share, equanimity is a complete openness to experience without extremes, without the reactions of liking or turning away from it. Mark now the difference between upeka, equanimity, and cold heart, hard-hearted. A hard heart, which means they don't care, is closed. It's a closed heart. You can do whatever you want. Anything can happen to you, whether good or bad. Don't come and bother me. My heart is closed. I don't care. Something bad happens to you, I won't be bothered. Something good happens to you, also I won't be bothered. You can do whatever you want to do. Don't tell me about it. That means the heart is closed. Upeka is different. Upeka means you open your heart. Whatever is here is here. Whatever is happening is happening. Whatever has happened has happened. Our heart is open. The closed heart takes place. We close our heart. Why? Because we want to protect ourselves. It is a protective device because we don't want to be hurt. We don't want to be disturbed by things that are happening there. But upeka is not like that. Upeka means you embrace whatever is happening, but you must have wisdom. Here it states, equanimity is supported by wisdom, because if you understand the nature of karma, you will develop equanimity. This is karma. This is my karma. This is their karma. Their karma is like that, and I cannot change it. I want to help them, of course, as much as possible, but if I cannot change their suffering or take away their suffering, it means karma is theirs. They have to serve out. They have to experience that karma. So we are not thinking like that, closed heart, with a closed heart. We are thinking like that with an open heart, which is very light, because whatever happens comes and passes through us. It goes by us. But we do not forget other people's suffering. We just understand it. So the more we practice, the more wisdom we develop in our mind, the more we can understand what is happening in this world. Why people are born in such a good circumstances. Why people are born in such really bad circumstances. It is due to their karma. And so we accept it with upeka. But we also reach out to them. We try our best to alleviate, to lessen their suffering. Because we don't want to just close one eye, close two eyes, close our heart. We understand that there is suffering, and I must do whatever I can. So what is that? That is called karuna, compassion. But we do that without embracing the other person's suffering. We know that they are suffering, but we don't take the suffering and put it into our heart. Then we think they have no suffering. No, it is not possible. It cannot be done. And so what happens is, we do our best for them. The utmost. Whatever you can help, you must help. But you cannot take away their suffering. Because as karma works, it is like that. But that doesn't mean we don't care. We must care. We must have the metta and the karuna, which is balanced by upeka. So without equanimity, we expect that life must occur in the way that we think it should. Because people tell us, oh, your life must be like that, like that, like that, like that, like that. Yeah, you first of all must do this, then you will get that, then your life will be okay. It's sometimes it is not okay. And we must let our children and our kids understand this. Sometimes go up, sometimes go down. So we prepare them for the up, we must prepare them for the down as well, with wisdom. If they don't have wisdom, my dear brothers and sisters, our children, the young ones in our community, our family, they will not be able to handle the challenges, the difficulty. Even not even the children, the adults. If they think that life must always be going up, going up, going up, and shouldn't come down, and shouldn't plateau, and we shouldn't have any problems at all. If we think like that, the people who think like that, they are not strong, they are not resilient, and when they meet with problems, they don't know how to solve their problems. So this is the situation that faces us even during the pandemic. So during the pandemic, upekha is very important. Equanimity endows compassion with courage. So we might be compassionate, but we must have courage as well. So if we don't know how to balance our minds when we see suffering, we will go down the wrong passage and follow the far enemy as well as the near enemy of metta, karuna, mudita, and upekha. I mentioned this to you before, in the first talk. There is the far enemy of the 4 Brahma Viharas, and there is the near enemy that looks like it, but it is not it, because it is unwholesome, because it will lead us to pain and suffering. But if we do it right, we don't so much of the pain and suffering. Okay, so upekha describes a state of balance. When we can see karma, when we can understand karma, we feel for the person, but there is a balance in our life. Our minds are steady. The Buddha, when he was alive, he saw so much suffering. He saw the physical suffering, he saw the mental suffering, he saw people who were going mad with anger and grief, and worry. He saw all these things, but his mind was balanced. His mind was steady, and he went out to help these people, without thinking of any benefit, without any hatred or anger for them when they did any wrong thing, because he had the upekha. He knew about their nature. He knew about karma, and so he also embraced them. He took them into their heart and tried to help them as much as possible. So, even when things don't turn out as expected, equanimity imbues the mind with a calm steadiness. This upekha also appears in our mind when we practice mindfulness. When we are into the satipatthana practice, when the mind is very calm, upekha also comes into that state of mind. So upekha is a natural state when we practice the path of wisdom. Anything that practices wisdom, develops wisdom, encourages wisdom will lead us to upekha. It is a natural thing. If you don't have wisdom, you might not have upekha. But when you have wisdom, you surely will have this upekha. The wiser you are, the more upekha you will have, because you understand the nature of life. You understand how existence can be, up and down, suffering, happiness, pain and sorrow. All these things will come to us. We will lose people we love. We will lose things that we value. And at the same time, we will get valuable things, and we will find new people to love as well. But eventually, all will disappear. This is the nature of life. So, equanimity is sometimes seen as indifference. Yeah, that means cold heart, but it is not so. That cold heart has no wisdom. The warm heart, the loving heart that has upeka has wisdom. Yeah, and aversion is we close our heart, as I mentioned. We close our heart, the door of our heart, to become cold and careless. Careless means very, 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 stubborn. Yeah, because of aversion. We don't want to be hurt, but upeka is the opposite of that. It makes us more understanding, of others. Next, please. So I share with you the words also of this great American meditation teacher, Sharon Salzberg. Yeah, she is very good at teaching Brahma Vihara. And she says equanimity strength is based on understanding that the conflict and frustration we feel when we cannot control the world doesn't come from our inability to do so, but rather from the fact that we are trying to control the uncontrollable. The world sometimes listens to us, follow what we try to create in the world, but not all the time. And so when we cannot control the world, we must accept that fact. We know better than to try and prevent the seasons. Here, we don't have so many seasons, but in the Western countries, they have seasons, and we can learn from the season. I don't like the winter, but I know that we must pass through winter. When I was studying, we must pass through winter in order to get to the spring. And even then, the spring is a rojak, it's a mixture of weathers. And then we get to the summer, which is very hot. And then my favorite time of year is autumn, which is very warm and very mild. But they are, again, when autumn comes along, you know that winter is nearby. We cannot change the seasons. That is the nature of the seasons. They come and then they go. You might not like it, but you have to live through it. So this is what Sharon says. Following autumn, winter comes. We may not prefer it. We don't like the dark and the cold of winter, but we trust it. We trust the winter. Yeah, even though it's cold and dark and very uncomfortable, we know that it will eventually change and become spring. So can we apply the same wise balance to the cycles and tides of pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral experiences in our lives? Yeah, let us apply that as well, to be balanced in our life. Not just hang on to pleasant, not just push away the unpleasant. And then we don't know what to do with the neutral feelings in our lives. We really don't know. Yeah. Can we develop that steadiness to know what to do? Next, please. So here is another Dhammapada verse. Let me very quickly read it for you. As a solid mass of rock is not stirred by the wind, so a sage is not moved by praise and blame. As a deep lake is clear and undisturbed, so a sage becomes clear upon hearing the Dhamma. Virtuous people always let go. They don't prattle about pleasure and desires, touched by happiness and then by suffering. The sage shows no sign of being dated or depressed. So the wise person, the sage, is not touched by ups and downs. Next, please. Here is Venerable Master Thich Nhat Hanh sharing his wisdom with us. So let me also very quickly read this. To have no enemies is a wonderful thing. Do you agree or not? Yeah, let us not hate anyone. Let us not consider anybody that he is my enemy. I don't like him. I hate him. To have no enemies is a wonderful thing because your heart is so open and light. If you hate people, your heart starts to close. Yeah, and then it is hardened, through that hatred. When we have no enemy, no reproach, no blaming, then our mind is light like a cloud. I have no discrimination or hatred. So my mind is light and I have great happiness. Yeah, said Venerable Master Thich Nhat Hanh. I want you to be able to practice like that so that you have your true home, so that you do not accuse and judge the people who have caused you suffering. Do not look at them as your enemies, but see them as people who need understanding and compassion so that you can help them. Of course, you have the choice whether you want to help them or not. So the wise words of Venerable Master Thich Nhat Hanh, he says, don't develop the anger. There is unfairness in life, but there is also good things in our life. We are able to do most of what we want. In certain societies, especially in the West, they value their personal freedom. Don't tell me what to do. I am a free man. That is what they value. But when the time comes for cooperation, you must cooperate in order that your society or your community can be kept safe. They don't value the whole society. They only value themselves. That is why many of those who do not want to take precautions against the COVID pandemic, that country has to suffer more than others. Please think carefully about that. Next, please. So here I like to share many pictures with you about mudita, about happiness in life, how we can be happy and have mudita and upekkha in our lives. And here is I on the right hand side where our great badminton player Lee Chong Wei, everybody is happy with him because he beat Lin Dan, his great nemesis. And so everybody had great mudita for him. But I wonder whether we can have great upekkha when he cannot beat Lin Dan, which was quite often. More often than not, he couldn't beat, his his nemesis. But when he did, every one of us were very, very happy. So we understand it goes up, it goes down. It does not happen the way we want it to all the time. Next, please. So this is what we must do with society, with the people around us. When we connect with them, we will heal with them. Next. So here is some research from a social responsibility magazine that says how kindness spreads in a community. I won't read the whole thing, but I will read this excerpt that goes, results from 88 experimental studies involving over 25,000 participants to measure how much our own altruism increases after witnessing someone acting pro-socially. For example, comforting somebody who is crying, donating to charity, or acting cooperatively in a competitive game. So what it means is that when we see people being kind, we also tend to be kind. When we don't see people being kind, we also don't have that thought of being kind. The kindness doesn't appear unless you are a very, very special person. The kindness doesn't appear naturally. So here in this great experiment, which involved 25,000 participants, they saw that every time these people witness kind acts, warm acts of charity, helping others, they too also want to help others. So this is something for us to take note of as a community. If we see others do it, we also want to do it. We want to be led. We want to have a leader most of the time. So let us do it more often. As leaders, as examples, let us do it. Sometimes it's not a matter of want to be boastful. Oh, I'm doing good things. But sometimes it's a matter of see that I am doing it for this reason. When I do it, others also do it. So kindness will spread in that community. When we keep doing good for others, others who see it also want to do good. And then that community will be so happy, and wonderful. Next, please. So let me share with you this very interesting experiment. And it was carried out by a Japanese researcher. He's not a doctor, but he had an understanding of science, and he found out what happens to water when it is near certain emotions. Next, please. This experiment was called Hado by Masaru Umoto. So you can go and search online about this Hado experiment. What he did was, he got a bowl of water and he put it in a group of people, and he asked them to radiate, just as we are teaching, how to radiate love and compassion. So when they radiated love and compassion to the water, this bowl of water, I think there were about 30 people or 40 people, they radiated their love to the water. Then what he did was, he froze the water, put it in very low temperature, and then he used a microscope to look at the crystals that were formed. So let me show you. When they radiated love, beautiful crystals were formed in the frozen water. When they radiated compassion, this looks like a snowflake were created. That means the structure of that water has got some kind of similarities. But when they thought evil thoughts, they radiated evil thoughts to that water, and this researcher, he did the same thing. He found that there are no crystals. Instead, the nature of that water is very, very horrible and ugly and not nice at all. So you can see on the right hand side, evil in the water. And then they went to got some water from a lake. It's a bit too small for me to see. And then when they got to the lake, they collected water from the lake. So it was the control, and then they kept it aside. Then they went there, and in the Japanese tradition, they did chanting over the lake, that patch of lake. So they went on chanting for a long time, and then they went and collected the water after the chanting. So when they froze the water in the natural lake, there is no crystal. It's just random, very random. But after they had done chanting in the lake, you take a look at the crystals, because there is positive emotion. So he came to the conclusion, this researcher, that water has a memory. It has consciousness, which means it collects the consciousness of the human beings around it. So therefore, his conclusion is, the more we think lovely thoughts, the water will become more structured, more usable. And don't forget, my dear brothers and sisters, the human body is about 80% water. So are you going to bombard the water in your body with good thoughts or bad thoughts? Do you want it to be random with no structure, or do you want it to have beautiful, organic structures, which is following some kind of uniform principle? So the choice is up to us. We know that when we are not happy, when we are stressed, when we have all kinds of bad thoughts, we are not relaxed. And that is because we are bombarding the water and the organs in our body with all kinds of negative frequencies. At the the secretions by the body, which comes out when we are angry, it is not good, and it makes us unhealthy. So to be angry and to be disturbed, to be jealous, makes us unhealthy. And if we are full of love, and compassion and mudita and upeka, you can see those people tend to look younger, tend to look more healthy, tend to look more satisfied. Why is that? It's water. It is affecting the organs of the body. Next, please. So we are now, again, I have talked too much. We can do some practice just for a few minutes. So let's have the next slide. Oh, okay. Yeah, the practice pointers. I will cover this in the last talk. Which is the next. Brother Chuan has scheduled me for another talk to cover up everything. So during the final talk of the series, I hope to do more practice. Then I will explain this. Next, please. And so metta is like this. We radiate loving kindness. So before we go to the karuna, let us develop thoughts of metta. So think, may I be well and happy. May I be free from all harm and danger. May I be free from all physical suffering. May I be well and happy and peaceful. And then radiate it to your family, radiate it to your teachers, radiate to your friends. And then finally say, to the whole world, without limitation, without boundary, may all beings be well and happy. So radiate it to all beings. Now we go on to karuna. Next, please. So this is the practice of karuna meditation. Karuna aspires that we lessen the suffering of the suffering beings. Whoever they are, wherever they are, if they are suffering, let us think, let us plan to lessen their suffering. But first of all, we must have the intention. So this meditation is the intention. So let us think, of a hospital. Anywhere that there is suffering people. Do you have a relative that is suffering? Do you have a friend that is suffering? Do you have a group of people that is suffering? So a hospital is good, because a hospital, there are many suffering people. You only go to hospital and stay when you are suffering, health-wise. So this is what we do. We think about a hospital. Think that you are standing in the ward of a hospital. And then you radiate these thoughts. All the people in the hospital, in this ward, and further, may you be free of physical suffering. So if your friend is suffering, radiate this karuna towards them. May you be free of physical suffering. Then, may you be free of mental suffering. Then, May your pain and suffering be eased. That means be less. So you radiate from your heart. The words are in your head, but the feeling comes out from your heart. May these people be free of physical suffering if in the hospital. May these people be free of mental suffering. May the pain of these people and suffering be eased. Have less suffering. Then you think of the whole world without limitation, without boundary. It doesn't matter who they are, where they are, what race they are. Without limitation, without boundary. May all beings be peaceful and safe. May they be free of suffering, from suffering. So you radiate this from them. So this is the compassion recitation. Yeah, and in the final episode, I will share the mudita recitation as well as the upekha recitation. Next, please. So with that, we have understood, we have a better idea of the 4 Brahma Vihara. So let us practice this Brahma Viharas, which heals our weary, our tired hearts. So we make this aspiration. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for your kind attention.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much, Brother Sangchai, for the very profound and enlightening talk on the 4 Brahma Vihara, focusing on the mudita and upekha this morning. After listening to your talk on mudita and upekha, metta and karuna in the previous talk, I think upon reflection, contemplation, and personal cultivation, we can nurture our mind with more positive and wholesome mental states, good for our spiritual cultivation, as well as good for our life. Now is a time for Q&A. Brothers and sisters in the Dharma, if you have any questions, you may type your questions in the comment box. Is there any question? Brother Alfred. The first question from Brother Leong Yu Ming. Should we seek a balance between mudita and upekha? Does it apply to metta and karuna too? Thank you.
Yes, thank you for the question. These 4 states of mind, they complement each other. But we can, if we go overboard, that means we can have too much of one if we don't have the quality of wisdom. And the quality of wisdom, as I have mentioned, is in the upekha. Upekha, once it comes in, it makes us more balanced. It makes us more, shall we say, see things more realistically. So that upekha is a wonderful kind of alignment. We need alignment in our lives. We need alignment in our car. Tires also need alignment so that we can all 4 of our tires can go the same way and take us to our destination. So it depends actually a lot on what we want to develop. So metta is the core. Metta is the most essential mental state. If we have metta, it's easy to develop karuna, it's easy to develop mudita, and eventually it's also easy to develop upekha. Because metta is the opening of our heart to other human beings. We acknowledge that there are other human beings, and those human beings are the same like us. They also want to be happy. They also want to avoid unhappiness and dangers and suffering. So when we understand other beings, we will have more metta. And the metta is the opening of the heart. And then when the heart is opened, we can develop mudita and also karuna and also upeka. So this is depending on metta. If there is no friendliness in our heart that is brought about by metta, that is very hard to go on to karuna, compassion, and it's very hard to go to mudita, yeah, and of course upeka. So we need to develop the next. Yeah, it is a requirement if we want to go further and further. But once we have the metta, everything else becomes much easier. Yeah, once we have metta, the karuna just flows from us because we are friendly, because we think about other people, we are concerned about their welfare. The karuna will start to flow, and we don't want them to suffer. And on top of that, we want them to enjoy life, and we will be happy when they enjoy life. So what is that? That is mudita. But in case we get too much onto one side, yeah, because it can happen when the karuna, especially when we start seeing so much suffering, yeah, and it's also a, shall we say, a professional outcome. Yeah, they have found that the psychiatrists who treat mental illness of their patients, many of them also get depression. The more they treat, yeah, if they are not secure in their own abilities, they will follow the patient to become depressed as well, because the patient will start thinking to them about how they became depressed. And if the doctor follows the thinking of that patient, they will become depressed. So it can happen. You want to be a doctor, but then you follow the patient too much, and then you become like your patient. So that's why you need another doctor. So that karuna needs the doctor of upeka, needs the doctor of mudita. Yeah, because if mudita comes into the picture, the compassion doesn't become heavy. Compassion, my dear friends, is a happiness. Don't think that compassion is sadness. Karuna is a Brahma Vihara. And because Karuna is a Brahma Vihara, it is a happy state of mind. But because the mind recognizes suffering, dukkha in life, that happiness is not the light happiness of mudita. It's not the light happiness of metta. It is a heavier kind of happiness. But it is still a happiness that allows us to recognize suffering and try our best to lessen the suffering of other beings. So when the happiness starts to disappear from the karuna, you need to be mindful, you need to check. Then you start thinking, oh, I am not so happy now. Am I really radiating karuna? It might not be. You might have gone into the near enemy of karuna. And the near enemy of karuna is sorrow. You become sorrowful. Then you start crying. Yeah, you start wailing. Yeah, you start becoming depressed. And when you are depressed and you cry, how are you going to help those people? So you see that there are many Buddhist organizations, yeah, that go out to help the needy and the suffering. They must be ready. They must be trained, yeah, with upeka and with mudita, so that they don't fall into the trap of sorrow. When you go out to help others, you must be strong. Yeah, don't get trapped into the suffering of others, because then your happiness, the real happiness of karuna, will start to lessen. And then it will start to disappear. Once the happiness disappears, it is no longer, let me state again, when the karuna is not happy, it is not karuna. It becomes sorrow. Yeah. And therefore, you must pull yourself out of that state. Okay? The four Brahma Viharas work very well with each other because they are the moisturizing of the relationship. What do I mean by that? Paper that is dry, paper, when you have pieces of paper, when it is dry, it doesn't stick. But when paper is wet, you put some water onto that, paper sticks to each other very, very well. And that is what we want. We want human beings to be able to stick to each other. So therefore, have the metta and the karuna and the mudita and the upekkha. All of these are joyful states. And even upekkha, if you think it is not happy, it is very, very steady, there is a joy. And this joy is very unusual joy. It is not the joy of pleasant feelings. It is not the joy of even unpleasant feelings. It is the joy of neutral feelings. When the mind is so wise and so neutral and not affected, it is a joy by itself. But it is not a normal joy. That happiness is not a normal happiness. It is the happiness of the wise ones, those who have insight. They will have this type of happiness. And when the person becomes enlightened with sotapanna, as a sotapanna, also will have this kind of the joy of neutral feelings. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, that's a very profound question. To a very good, profound answer to a very good question from Brother Leong Yu Ming. We go for the next question. I think due to time constraint, we may have just two more questions. We often hear about many teachers and Buddhist centers teaching and promoting the cultivation of metta. Of the four Brahma Vihara, is metta the most important mental state to cultivate? I think this one, Brother Feng Cha already answered this question.
Yeah.
We go for the next one, Brother Alfred.
Okay.
Brother Alfred, we go for the next question. Brother Alfred, we go for the next question. This one, Brother Feng Cha already answered.
Yeah, the metta is the core. Yeah, it is the base of the good intentions, the good mental states. Is there any more, Brother Alfred? Any more questions?
From Stephanie Wong. How can we practice mudita through meditation?
Yes, it can be done. Please tune in into my next talk. Let me do some advertising. Yeah, we can do it. There is a recitation. So, as I said, you must have the situation. The karuna, just now what we did, cannot just happen. You must have an object. A subject actually. If you have the subject and you feel the the karuna, then the words will help to form the feeling in your heart. There are two sides to it. Mudita is the same. There is the mental, the mental activity, the head. You keep saying the words, and then the words will affect the emotion in your heart. It's like metta. May you be well and happy. First of all, you might start off no feeling of metta. The feeling is very dry, but you keep saying, may you be well and happy. And eventually, you will believe that you want the other person to be well and happy. And then the feeling in the heart, that mental state in the heart, it will become stronger and stronger. And when it becomes stronger and stronger, you can leave the words. No need to well and happy. Then you concentrate on that state of mind. Although I say heart, it comes from the mind. And the more you concentrate on this mental state, it will become stronger and stronger until you can go into jhana. Your mind goes into the absorption where mind has no other object except metta or karuna or mudita or even upeka. So these can be beautiful absorption states. Yeah, and once you see our minds now, we have so many objects. You know, you are looking at the picture, you are hearing, so the mind goes into very many actions. If the mind is only held by one object, can you imagine? It is the whole mind is held together by one object. That is called jhana. Yeah. You can only have one object, and the object is the mind. The mind is the object, and it is composed. It is so composed. It is very calm, yeah, and also very peaceful. And then when you come out of that, the calmness also follows you for a while. You need to go back to the jhana in order to have that calmness. Yeah. So concentration leads to the jhana. Concentration means that feeling of mudita or metta becomes so strong, the mind has no space for anything else except this object. And then when you hold it, yeah, it becomes stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. So next week, not next week, I'm not sure. I think 2 weeks time. Yeah. Brother Chuan has given me more time, and I hope that I can control myself and talk less, and we practice more during the last session, yeah, of the four Brahma Vihara. Yeah, please come back. Yeah, please come back.
Yeah, thank you, Brother Sangchai. So Sister Stephanie and other brothers and sisters in Dharma, if you want to learn how to practice mudita through meditation, please come and join us for the next session by Brother Sangchai. I think due to time factor, or maybe you can just have one more question, Brother Alfred. Last question. Also by Brother Leong Yu Ming again. Can we apply Yoniso Manasikara in our daily life to achieve the four Brahma Vihara?
Oh, yes. Yoniso Manasikara is the Pali words for wise reflection. That means we reflect wisely. So Yoniso Manasikara means we eat something, we makan, and then we tapao. Yeah, we go home with the tapao. So we hear the Dhamma on the Sunday morning, but we must reflect on this Dhamma at other times. And so this act of reflection is called wise reflection. That means we turn our minds towards a subject. And this subject is a very wholesome and useful subject for us to think about. Well, certainly, the more we have wise reflection, the more the four Brahma Viharas will be meaningful, will have real meaning in our lives. You see, brother, the important thing to realize when we think enough about it is that metta, karuna, mudita, and upeka centers around the Four Noble Truths. The core, the essence, yeah, of metta also has to do with suffering. We want people to be free from suffering. Karuna, we want them to be have good health, have good states of mind. So everything takes into account that our lives are affected by suffering. And we can't help it. It is the nature of existence. To exist means to suffer. Even when we are healthy and very, very happy, there is an insecurity in the states. Because we know, no matter how happy you are, it will not last. No matter how good looking you are and how much black hair you have, my dear brothers, and sisters, the black hair will become gray and the gray hair will disappear. I'm finding out, less and less hair on my head. So it is a natural thing. So what do? Do we become sad? Do we become depressed? The Buddha says, no, you train your mind in spite of all these difficulties. Train your mind to be happy with metta, with karuna, with mudita. See the opportunities to be happy. That means whenever you have small occasions in your life to be happy, you focus on them. It's very simple. Even when you finish work, and then you go home and you sit down after your work, you feel more relaxed. Your kids will see you relax and they will have mudita. And let's say your children come home from school, they are very hot, and they have had a very hard day in school. They sit down and have a drink, and you take a look at them. They are back, they are home, now they can relax. There is mudita. There is mudita all the time if you really look for it. So some people, they think, I must do mudita meditation. Yes, you need to do mudita meditation. But your mudita meditation rests, come out, become stronger through all the wonderful experiences we have when we interact with others, when we are with other human beings. We have this occasion of mudita. So therefore, we look for the mudita and we try to play down, avoid the occasions where there is anger and ill will. The opposite of mudita, anger and ill will. So there is a training. There's a wonderful training for our mind. So the more we think about it, the more we understand suffering, the more with wisdom, of course, this is called wise reflection. The 4 Brahma Viharas will stay in our minds. It is a natural thing. When we think about people suffering, and if we are kind, there is compassion. When we look at people enjoying themselves, there is wisdom, there is mudita, and so on. So this is a kind of reflection process. Reflection means you think about it deeply. But the reflection can also go into the concentration process, meaning you can also take it as an object for your concentration. So this is the deepest form of yoniso manasikara. That means it becomes an object for your thoughts. It becomes an object for the mind to grasp. And so this is what we are doing. I mean, we call it meditation. But actually, when we go deep into it, it is actually a form of reflection and mental training as well. So we can do it. But we must have, as in one of the slides, there must be intention. We cannot have accidentally do metta, accidentally do karuna. No, there must be the intention of the heart. When there is the intention of the heart, then the reflection is very pure and very strong and meaningful. And then we can go into it, very strongly. So much so that it changes, as I showed you, it changes the nature of our physical body, and it changes the nature of our mental, our mental strength as well. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Due to time constraint, I think we will stop here. Sadhu, Brother Sangchai. Thank you for the very profound and very enlightening talk this morning, and also the very in-depth answers to the good questions given by our devotees. I think after this talk, we can go back and have this apply this yoniso manasikara, so that all of us can nurture our mind with a more wholesome state of mind, as long as it can be. Thank you so much once again, Brother Sangchai. On behalf of our members, devotees, we express our heartfelt gratitude for your sharing with us the Dharma. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Speaker Brother Tan Sang Chai for the Dharma sharing through calm and contentment. Well, it was another very enlightening talk, and there's so many questions, so many answers, so many learning, so much of learning that we are going to look forward to the next talk. The next talk will be next week, 14th, Sunday, November. So remember to mark on your calendar for another talk. And with such wonderful talk, I always say share the link with your family and friends. On this, we'll resume on the Paul Brahma Viharas. Brothers and sisters, the Dharma, we have all participated in the Sunday Buddha Puja service with a calm mind, listening to the Dharma, and with a very good and interesting Q&A session. With the merits accrued, let us share and dedicate merits to all our living and departed relatives, families, and friends, and all beings. Let us dedicate merits to those who had been fallen ill due to the COVID-19. May they have a speedy recovery. May they be free from harm and danger. Sharing of merits. Imang no punya bagang mata pitu nancha acharya nancha sabba satanancha sabba mitanancha sabba nyatinancha sabba petanancha sabba devadanancha bhajema. Imam no punya bagang sabba satanang dema sabbe sata sukita hontu. Idang menya tinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang menya tinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang menya tinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Imina punya kamena mame bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yava nibbana patiya. Idang me punyang asavakaya vahang hotu. Idang me punyang nibbanasa pacayo hotu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, before we end, let us pay homage to the Triple Gem. Buddhang Pujemi, Dhammang Pujemi, Sanghang Pujemi. To all the devotees, thank you very much for participating, and those who have responded with your kind words in the comment box and send the likes and love. Appreciate very much, and we will continue next week on the 14th November. We have come to the end of this 67th online Sunday Buddha Puja service. Remember to refer to the Facebook, SGBA, or your society's Facebook for the information. And for those of you who wish to have to get more details, always remember to constantly look at the Facebook or to the WhatsApp messages. We hope you will continue to stay safe with your family, and may you and family be safe, well, happy, and peaceful always. Sabbe Sata Sukita Hontu Suki Hontu.
Bahong sahan semabhinim mita sayudantang ngirimi kelang udita sasena